Shalom and welcome. Erev Tov, good evening. I welcome you to this program, another installment of Ask the Rabbina. And my name's Alicia. I'm the Rabbina, and I'm here to answer whatever questions you may have. I do apologize for the late start. I had a little technical difficulty with the setup here. And although I'm pretty good technology wise, sometimes things don't go the way they're supposed to. So I'm just waiting here for you to arrive and to grab your favorite cup, favorite hot beverage. If you are in a place that's a little cold, it's a little chilly here in north central Illinois. And so I do appreciate my green tea. Um, which I love to have on nights like this. So anyway, welcome. I do want to remind you also that we have a live chat that I welcome you to participate with, and you will find that below this video. If you are on YouTube, you will find that below this video, and you just click on, I think it's on join the live chat or open the chat window. Any one of those should work. And so I am doing, and the weather just popped up on my phone here. So yeah, here it's 38 degrees here, but it says it feels like 31. And it's cold. So and I'm originally from California, so this ain't right. So I'm waiting for the weather, spring weather to come, and so I hope you're nice and warm and cozy wherever you are. So we're going to get started in just a moment. As far as the subject matter, I leave it up to you, unless for some reason it's placed in my spirit to talk about a certain subject. Either way, I welcome you to ask questions, to make comments, and also to bring forth scripture, pertinent scripture. So, with that, I do want to go over our rules of engagement, um, and I call these Rabbina's rules. And so, this is just a short list of my requests for those who join us online here, um, so that everybody feels welcome, everybody feels comfortable being together, even though we're separated, and we're communicating through the wonders of the interwebs. Um, I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. And um, so let's go through these rules, shall we? Okay, so rule number one, please be kind and polite. We do not want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. We don't want to shame anyone. And we don't want to be combative. So let your words be kind and let them be polite. In other words, play nice. Okay, the second rule is keep it kosher. And this goes with the rule number one. Keep it kosher. Let's keep our language um, kosher. Let's keep it clean. And I know in this world, so many people don't even realize that they're speaking words that are offensive, words that are ugly. Um, people are so used to dropping F bombs and whatever bombs that they're used to dropping, and but not here, not here. Here we want to keep everything clean and of course friendly. So keep it kosher. And finally, stick with the program. Um, Now, I will say that we have on occasion had people pop in that had their own agenda and basically they were like the Somali pirates of the internet, and have decided that I'm the captain now. So they will um, take over the conversation. They have their own agenda. Um, and so I will say that if your objective is to teach, preach, and prophesy, and basically turn the tables, make everything go according to your plan, um, that doesn't fly here. And so again, play nice. And I will say it is so easy to have your very own program here on YouTube. It's easy, it's free. Um, and so I invite you to do that. If you want to have your own platform, I invite you to do that on your own platform. But here we're playing nice, and we try to stay on topic. That's not to say that the topic doesn't shift and flow in a different direction, but it's done in a very seamless way as much as possible. So, so let's not have any whiplash happening because the subject is changed suddenly. Okay, and we have Kifa piping in. He says, "Shalom, shalom, Kifa." And again, a reminder: you are invited to make comments, bring forth scriptures, ask questions, but just keep with Rabbina's rules, okay? All right, and we will all be much happier for it. So thank you very much. Okay, so as far as the subject, I've been thinking about this subject in the last couple of days, and I'm going to find. I'm going to see if I can find a. Um, let's see. I'm gonna find it on my phone. I think it's easier um, reading things on my phone than trying to make another window. So I'm going to go to a different app, and let's see if I can locate it. Where did you go? And I don't know if any of you have Telegram, but there it is. I was looking for green for some reason, but it's in blue. Okay. So, so the latest discussion has been, and it's been in the news, um, unless you've been hiding in a bunker somewhere, and there are some who are. There's been a lot of conversation on what's going on in the Middle East right now, and we know that the conflict has been between Iran and Israel, and back and forth. And of course, Iran's proxies, in other words, Hezbollah, Hamas, ISIS, all these terrorist groups, they're being funded by the IRGC, by Iran, the Iranian government. And and you've most probably heard that there has been um, terrorism inflicted upon the Iranian citizens that just want peace. They want to live in peace. They want freedom, but their own government is killing them. And because the government there has control of their media, there's been a media blackout. And so we're not hearing everything that is going on there. And um, they're basically having this blackout so that I don't know if they wanna look good to everybody, look like they're in the right, the IRGC, but, um, I think we're smart enough to know that they're up to no good. And so for those of you, who are on Telegram or would like to be on Telegram, and that's where I get a lot of my news, that comes straight from Israel. Um, I follow Amir Tsarfati. Amir Tsarfati is he's a journalist and an Israeli citizen, and he's right in the thick of things, so we know what's going on, and, there's been lots of I don't know if you can see it there, but lots of news, every day, almost every minute, there's something, and he's reporting from there. Okay, it looks like the bombing that the Iranian government is, attacking Israel with, it looks like it's slowed down a little bit, but, I wanted to show you what at the height, there's a lot of there's a lot of activity. So, but I mean, basically, if you subscribe to Amir, or if you're getting your news right from there, no doubt you've seen the, map of Israel and where they're showing all the strikes, the missile strikes, and it looks like Israel is completely covered in these red markers where missiles have been, um, dropping there or have been, um, thank you, yeah, have been disarmed or deflected either by the Iron Dome or by the Israeli Air Force intercepting, um, these these attacks. Um, yeah, okay. So what I'm seeing is not as much as what I had before when I first saw um, the devastation. But anyway, I follow Amir Sarfati. His last name, well, his name is spelled Amir. That's his first name. Last name is T as in Tom, S as in Sam, Arfati. And I'll try and put that in front. Whoop, that's him. That's Amir. And so he's right there, boots on the ground. And so he lets us know what is going on right there. No doubt, he is hearing all these missile strikes, all these attacks, and he also has been reporting on um, on the retaliatory strikes from Israel in Iran. And no more will Israel just roll over and play dead. No more will they remain silent and cower in fear. But um, they're armed, they're protected, um, and their resolve is very strong. And so the phrase in their mind is never again, and that should be the phrase in everyone's mind. So, so drop in the comments if you would drop a shalom or a howdy, howdy do. Um, but also if you would, let me know. Are you on Telegram? And if you are you following Amir Sarfati? Just let me know in the comments. So, Okay, and I'm watching those comments. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna go back to the latest and greatest here. Um, all right. So this was, let's see, this was at um 5:59 tonight Central Time. And there's Beirut is being attacked as well. Um, Iran doesn't have very many friends, it looks like, at least not in their area. It says here that reports of missile and drone attacks in Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia have been going on. And so I'm going to see if I can do a screen share. Um, and okay, there we go. And okay, but please let me, let's see. Okay, it wants me to link. Okay, so I beg your indulgence as I do this. Um, okay, and let's see. All right, settings. And okay, it wants me to go to settings, devices. There's devices, and it says to scan. Um, okay, link dot. All right. Okay, looks like it's scanned and looks like we're on. Yay. This helps a lot. This helps a lot. So, all right. Um, I'm going to allow that. Yay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a screen share so that you can see what I see, just in case you don't have Telegram. This is going to be okay. Allow. Okay, where are we? Amir Sarfati. Okay. All right. So, um, let me see. Okay, there it is. Okay. So, that's Amir's channel there, and I'm just going to um move that aside there. And just so I can see what's going on. All right. Oh, that my screen got really big. Okay. So it looks like it's animated. Looks like you can see what's going on. This is one of the U.S. Air Force's B-2 Spirit bombers. Oh, okay. It's a return to Texas. Let me go down. Um, and Secretary of State Rubio had just been on about oh, let's see, not quite an hour, about a half, yeah, almost an hour ago. Okay, almost an hour ago. And he's been being very transparent, explaining what's going on over there in that region. So I want to see if there we go.
Where they can hide behind, meaning there would come a point where they have so many conventional missiles, so many drones,
I don't know if you can
and it can
hear me.
inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions. They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have. They've been doing this for a very long time. And by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports, they're attacking hotels, they're hitting not just military bases, they're attacking our embassies directly. They're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military. And that's a weakened Iran. That's in Iran despite years of sanction. Imagine a year from now or a year and a half from now, the capabilities they would have to inflict damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's run by radical clerics. The Ayatollah was a radical cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions. They make decisions on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be taken very seriously as well. So that was the purpose for what this operation is all about. That's what it's focused on. As the president said earlier today, it is on or ahead of schedule. I will defer to the Department of War to discuss the progress being made at a tactical level, but it was the right decision and an important decision for the safety and security of the world.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to pause that right there. So it's important to know that despite what the news outlets in this country are telling us, um, we're not starting a war. And in fact, so far, um, the way that we have been intercepting attacks on Israel and also other allies in the Middle East there, um, has been responsive. It has not been um, done in a provocative way. We don't want to get into another endless war like previous administrations have brought us into. And so the fact that we are intercepting, that um, we don't have boots on the ground, means that we are not in a war with Iran, but we are taking surgical counteractive steps um, to basically let Iran know that they need to stop, that we're not going to put up with this. Um, we don't want them to drag us into a war, but we will defend innocent lives. And we're not happy with the way the Iranian government has been treating their own people. They've killed thousands. We don't even know how many thousands that they've killed. Um, so, because there's a media blackout there, they're not letting us know. So, um, please keep in prayer. Please keep this whole thing in prayer. We don't want to have boots on the ground. We would rather see everything settle down and you know um, be done with all that hostility. But unfortunately, Iran doesn't want to play nice. They've have it in their mind. They're bloodthirsty, and of course, I'm not speaking about the whole of Iran. I'm speaking about the leadership there. Now we know that the Ayatollah is no longer. Um, and their newest leader has been installed, and he's in fact the second in command to the Ayatollah before. Um, I think he's out of the picture, and so every leader that they prop up is going to be in the crosshairs of us and Israel because we don't want them picking up that stick again and causing more death and destruction. So, so right now, I guess the idea is to hamstring them so that they cannot attack us. They cannot attack Israel any longer. They cannot attack all their neighbors, which they have been. There's been, like I said before, bombings. They've been missile and drone attacks in Abu Dhabi, um, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and you can see in the footage that I've got there, um, Yeah, you can see the smoke there from one, that's in Beirut. Um, here Reuters confirms the US Embassy in Riyadh was impacted with a projectile causing fires. So, Iran is really, um, they're like a cornered animal, um, and in their way of thinking, they're right. Why are these people against us? Well, we're gonna teach them a lesson. And so that's their mindset. That's their mindset right now. And you can see all the US forces that are being sent there. These little blue upside down teardrop things, those are, um, I think those are military installations that are on alert. Um, see, 15 American refueling tankers are on the way to the Middle East, and that was as of a little after 6 o'clock tonight, Central Time. Um, so we're just waiting. We're just waiting on um, any more news, and I'll give it to you as I hear it. Again, a lot of this you will not see on your TV, because there's a media blackout in Iran. They don't want you knowing anything. They certainly don't want you to know how many of their own citizens that they've killed. There could be as many as 60,000, 90,000. Um, some leaks have come out and give people the impression that, oh, it's only been a few thousand. Not that that's any small thing, but it's bigger. It is bigger than they let on. And so they're very careful about what they reveal. They don't want to look like the bad guy, even though they are the bad guy, and um, they are just wreaking havoc in that area. We also know that not only that area, but um, and I think most of us who are realists, we know there are terror cells all over the world and even in our country. Not just from Iran. I mean, there's that too, but cartels had come in through the open border that was with the last administration, um, and they're big on recruiting. So promising this, that, and the other. And so weak-minded individuals, people with violent um, personalities and warped minds, many of these people just are sick. They're sick from the neck up. They are sick, and they just want to wreak havoc. Um, Recently, there was a terror attack in Texas, and where a man who was um, he went over to the dark side. He From last report, he was a Muslim, and he was wearing um, a shirt that said something to the effect of "property of Allah," and he had a an ISIS, or he had some kind of T-shirt underneath that pretty much gave away that whose side he was on. He was on the side of evil. And so there were some people killed in that attack. And we see this happening all around our country. We should not be surprised because we've allowed way too many people like this across the border. And so we don't know who all is here. We do know that a lot of the major cities, especially the blue cities in blue states, have their own um, cells that are hiding out there, and then we have places like in Minneapolis, where all kinds of stuff is going on. Oh, okay. I got a notice from Amir. Okay. And let's see, breaking news. I'm going to look at the channel here. Oh, that was 1 day ago. Okay. Um, when was this? This was, oh, okay. I'm going to bring this on. Okay. So CNN reports that two UAVs struck the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia. There are no reports of casualties. Wow, Italy's on fire. Can you imagine there are people who
What are you doing here?
I don't want that. So many people are in grief. They're grieving. It's just crazy. Um, and people are radicalized in this country. So um, we need to be praying harder than ever before. Um, this is not just what's going on in this country, but it's going on the other side of the world. Now, I know there are some that say, "Oh, well, why should we be involved? Why should the US be involved? This is Israel's war." It's our war too, and not that we're in a war, but it's our fight. Um, not only is Israel, their safety is in jeopardy, but our safety is in jeopardy too. Remember the Ayatollahs always preached, always were heard to say, we're going to go after the little Satan first, meaning Israel. And then they add to it, they say, then we're going to go after the big Satan, and they mean us. We are their biggest target. Yes, they're targeting Israel. They hate Israel. They hate the Jewish people. Um, and because of our relationship with Israel, and the fact that in New York City, there are more Jews in New York City, from what I understand, than there are in Israel. um, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but there are a lot, and so they see the US, because New York City to them represents the West. It represents the infidels in the US. And so they know that we have a connection to Israel, not only a friendship and not only a partnership in keeping the peace, but also Israel's on the front lines. They're right there. And it's only, the reason that Europe isn't completely overrun with terrorist attacks. I mean, they've had their share, but the only reason they're not completely overrun is because Israel's right there to keep things from getting out of hand. And but more and more, it's getting harder and harder. And so, with Israel in the front lines, they're putting themselves in harm's way, not just for themselves, but for the rest of the world, for the Western world, for the civilized world. And so us here in the United States, we should be concerned about this too. We are not immune. And um, as many Muslims as there are in the United States, and it seems to be growing more and more, basically because They don't kill their babies in the womb. The West does that, and I'm not saying everybody does that. It shouldn't be, but their population is growing, and this is kind of the slow plan. This is from years ago, and I'm not saying that all Muslims are like this. No, I know moderate Muslims. I've had friends who are Muslims. They were not like that at all. Um, so many of the Islamic countries in the the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, um, were very westernized, very progressive. Women there had freedom. They weren't covered up from, by from head to toe with a burqa. They weren't punished for having a strand of hair poking out from under their head covering, or from showing a hand or a wrist or an ankle, or thinking to drive a car. They're not even allowed to drive a car in these very, very strictly Muslim areas. No, they were free. I mean, if you didn't hear the music and if you didn't hear them speak going into any one of their cities, you would have sworn you were in 1960s and 1970s United States, any one of these, because they looked like us, they dressed like us. Um, but not anymore. Not anymore. As soon as the revolution happened in 1979, I remember it well. Um, Everything changed, and it became a theocracy, and it became um, an oppressive situation with the Ayatollahs taking over. And of course, the Shah of Iran was exiled. Him and his family had to leave, otherwise they would have been executed. But this is what we have now. This is what we have now. And the people, the innocent people of Iran, the Iranian citizens, not the government, but the citizens, are yearning to breathe free like we do. They hear stories. They hear stories from their parents and grandparents, how what it used to be living there, how there was freedom of speech. It was, you could wear what you want. You could, women could vote. They were not oppressed like they are now. And I'm sure these young people that are have been protesting and being killed, tortured and killed for speaking up. Um, that's what they yearn for. They yearn for freedom, like we've got freedom. Freedom is a precious commodity. Freedom is not free. Freedom is fleeting, because if we allow things to go the way that it's gone in Iran, if we allow things to continue the way everything's turning now here in the United States, um, if we allow people to cross our borders that are not vetted, they're not, they don't earn their way to citizenship by going through the process, by showing allegiance. I mean, my goodness, even those who claim to be citizens are not showing allegiance, but they are showing disdain and disgust with this country. And they're very vocal about it. And the terrible thing about it is many of them are in our government. They are leaders in our cities. They are leaders in government. Um, these are the Muslim extremists. I'm not talking about um, honest, hardworking, peaceful, moderate Muslims. We have freedom of religion in this country. So they are free to practice their religion within reason. And I know I'm kind of putting a circle around that. Um, by within reason, I mean as long as your practice of your religion does not cause harm to another, does not um, aid in toppling down our government, does not replace our government, such as trying to push for Sharia law replacing US law, then they should be free to practice their religion as long as they are not doing anything that's un American. But we hear it even from the top. Our leaders in Congress, our state leaders, local leaders, um, it's incredible the lies that people here in the US believe because they're not getting the full picture. They're not hearing what is really going on over there. And that's not just media blackout in the Middle East, in Iran in particular. It's also media blackout here in the US because a lot is being stifled. And it makes you wonder who's behind all that. Who is behind feeding us altered truth so that we will go over to that side? It's ridiculous how many people in this country, students, um, young people, and old people, um, sympathize with Hamas even after October 7th in 2023, knowing and seeing what Hamas did there in Israel and what they're aiming to do here in this country. And yet, these dim-witted people, they they're embracing an ideology that they know nothing about. Why? Why they do? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe sometimes people embrace things because it makes them feel powerful. Sometimes they embrace things um, because it makes them feel knowledgeable or makes them look um, tolerant and accepting of other people's ways, even though it flies in the face of what our country stands for. They go over there and or not literally, I'm sure some have. I know there are some United States citizens that have volunteered to fight for ISIS, and many ignorant girls, young girls that see the glamour of being married to a sheikh or something, or, they see, some girls are attracted to the bad boys, but they don't stop at people who ride motorcycles. They embrace those who strap on bombs and want to be suicide bombers. Um, I probably shouldn't have used that S word because, I know YouTube monitors, but you know you know what I mean. Just the things that are acceptable to the youth of today. We just had, about a week or so ago, a protest down the main street of our little town, which is our little town's almost like Mayberry, if you've ever watched the Andy Griffith show. It's kind of it's a small town, people know each other, um, and what really befuddled me was the teachers and the principals in the local schools gave the okay for students to skip class so they could protest and they're not protesting the killing of Israeli citizens or the killing of US citizens. They're protesting that the current administration has come against people who are doing evil. They're protesting against the capture of Maduro of Venezuela, who's a drug trafficker, who is a murderer. Um, and they're no doubt protesting that Israel is retaliating for Iran attacking, and protesting that we're starting to be involved too. Hopefully, this will be done and over soon. Um, Hopefully, between the US and Israel, we'll be able to do such quick and surgical retaliation that it'll put an end to what's been going on, what Iran's been behind. But we know the enemy does not sleep. The enemy doesn't rest, and he's out to get the people of Yah. And so get used to it. Don't stand for it, but don't be don't be unaware. Um, the enemy, the devil, Hasatan, Satan, he he all he wants to do is steal, kill, and destroy. And he's behind what's going on in the world today, whether in the Middle East or here. Um, we should all be praying. We should all be praying for our service members. We should be praying for our leaders that they make wise decisions. And I will say that the decisions that are being made by our president, by his cabinet, by the Secretary of War, by the military um, leaders that give him input and intel, um, he's listening to the facts. And because our news sources, the news that's available to US citizens, the mainstream, the lamestream, they're filtering a lot of the facts out because many of them are trying to make our leaders look bad, trying to make our president look bad, try to make the US look bad, um, and doing terrible things. How many of you remember? I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but lest we forget when um, a certain reporter, a journalist, I use that I use that word loosely, um, got together with protesters and stormed into a church and disrupted their services. That's not journalism. That's that's kamikaze. And we know very well that the kamikaze were willing to put themselves in harm's way in order to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. Well, that's exactly what um, Mr. Lemon did. And he's paying the price now. Good. Maybe he'll learn. Maybe not. But this should be a deterrent to others that are trying to do that. So truth is not coming across the airwaves as far as our um, legacy news outlets like ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. CNN, that means certainly not the news. All those outlets, news outlets, they are filtering because they're being paid. We need to follow the money, find out who's doing that. Um, and we need to pray for wisdom and discernment for those of us that are bombarded with the fake news on TV, on the radio, in our newspapers, if we still read newspapers, anything that's sent to us on our computers, on our phones. We need to be very careful. One thing I will say that, our dear friend Amir, who reports from his channel, Telegram, he's truthful. He's right there on the ground. It's not hearsay, it's not so, um, anyway, uh, okay, I'm getting a little, uh, okay, let's see if we're back on. Okay, so, anyway, um, please prayerfully consider, um, getting onto Telegram and following Amir and getting the real scoop. And he's not the only one that I hear from. Um, some reputable reporters would be, of course, Amir Tsarfati, who I've mentioned. There's another one, Avi Lipkin. Avi Lipkin, he's got connections there, and so he knows what's going on in the Israeli government, military, a lot of things like that. So he gets things firsthand. And and what I'll do for those of you, and I highly recommend checking out, um, let's see, I'm gonna see if I can copy the link to Amir's um, channel on Telegram, and I'm posting it right here. If you see it, I'm posting it on our live chat. So if you would like that information, you can click on that and you'll find him. So, okay, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on this subject. I've been telling you what my thoughts are. Um, and if you have any questions concerning this subject, feel free to get onto the live chat. I'm watching it right now. Okay. Well, while I'm waiting for those of you to um, respond, I will share with you that according to the rabbinical calendar, today is Purim. And so, if you know the story of Purim, you know the story of Queen Esther, um, a an awful person, a terrible person in the Persian Empire. Actually, there was a king of Persia, but there was also one of his advisors, his chief advisor, Haman, who um, who hated the Jewish people, decided that he wanted to exterminate the Jewish people, get them out of Persia, which is modern day Iran. And as the story goes, he had planned on executing this one Jewish person in particular, Mordecai, who sat at the gate. He was a wise person. He was also the cousin or uncle. There's a little some people don't understand what the relationship is there, but he basically adopted as his own daughter Queen Esther, originally called Hadassah. And um, when the king was looking for a new wife because he had executed his old wife, he picked Hadassah, only he didn't know that that was her name. He didn't know she was Jewish, um, and made her queen. And she had taken the name Esther because it was a name that was acceptable in Persia at the time. It was more of a Persian or Babylonian name. And so, anyway, when Haman, boo, got angry with the Jews, he picked on Mordecai in particular because as Haman went down the street riding on his horse, and everybody would bow, grovel, and bow. Even the Jewish citizens would, all except Mordecai. He would not. He says, I don't bow to you. I only bow to the Most High Elohim, Yahweh. And so Haman got very angry and he wanted to make an example of Mordecai. And so he had built a huge gallows. Some say it was a spike, an impaling device. Um, this that was originally a Persian version, Persian version of execution back then, and he intended this for Mordecai. So he'd get a couple things accomplished. He'd get rid of Mordecai and his insolence, and he would make an example of Mordecai to all the Jews living there so that they would fall in line and not rock the boat. Well, Purim, the festival of Purim, the Feast of Esther, celebrates the reversal of that plan. So instead of Mordecai and the Jews being executed on this gallows, on this scaffold that Haman built, it was Haman who was executed when his plan was exposed by Queen Esther. And so not only Haman, Haman was executed for his deeds, his plans, but all 10 of his sons were executed as well. And so that's why we celebrate Purim. It's a historical celebration. It's not one of the Moedim, not one of the appointed times feasts of the Lord, but it is historical. Like we in this country, we celebrate July 4th. It's not a holy day instituted by our Creator, but it's historical. And in celebrating that day here, or Purim, we are still celebrating the one who turned things around, who gave us success, who protected us and provided for us. And we pray he is still with us. In fact, we say, God bless America, but really, we should be saying, America, bless God, because he has been with us over the years, over the centuries. And so that's why we celebrate Purim. But it's interesting that just as the gallows that were intended to execute the Jewish people, starting with Mordecai, was the story was flipped so that it was Haman who was executed on his own plan, on his own gallows. So what happened thousands of years later, modern day, right on this very same date? The plans of the Ayatollah Khomeini was flipped. The bombs, the missiles that were intended to wipe out the Jewish people, that idea was flipped and he was wiped out with a missile, with the very same device, not the same exact device, but a form of the device that he had planned to wipe out the Jewish people. So, as they say, turnabout is fair play, and especially when it's Yahweh who causes that turnabout. So, any comments on that? I would love to hear your take on it, or if you've heard anything else. Um, let's see. I'm looking for an illustration that I wanted to share, which pretty much it's a good picture of um, what we're talking about. Let's see. Ah, let's see. There we go. Okay. All righty. I'm going to I'm going to share this one. Um, okay, I'm going to stop that screen and I'm going to share another screen. And this was very clever. This was something else pertaining to um, the current conflict and Purim. Um, and let me see if I can share that. Okay, so um, whoop. All right. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's pretty interesting. Here we have a picture, a cartoon of the Ayatollah Khomeini, and looking like Haman of old, who had built this scaffold to hang Mordecai. And down here we see portrayal of Mordecai and a portrayal of Queen Esther, and this is the king of Persia. And so that gallows that was made to execute Mordecai and the rest of the Jews in Persia was used to execute Haman and his 10 sons. Now, if you look below at his name there, I don't know if you can see it, but it's spelled out Khamenei. But when you push aside the K in the beginning and the EI at the end, what do you get in the middle? Haman. I think that's pretty clever. That's pretty clever. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Okay, well, it looks like we are already to the hour mark, a little past the hour mark. And so I wanted to give you a moment if you have a question or a comment concerning what we've been talking about here. If you have a scripture verse that you wanted to offer that references what we were talking about, now's your chance. Go to the live chat. Okay. Okay, well, if there's no more, I'm going to end here. And I'm so happy that you were able to be here with me and let me bloviate a little bit. And I do hope that you will join me next week, next Wednesday night Monday night, sorry, Monday night at 6:30 for the next Ask the Rabbina. And of course, I always am open to questions on any subject, be it our faith, our God, the Bible, what we believe, um, any question you want to ask, or if you want to bring forth scripture. And usually we allow you, dear viewers, to decide how the conversation goes. Um, so I'm just here to answer your questions as best I can. It just so happened that with all the events today and yesterday, this was the subject that came up. So this is what it turned to. So I hope this was informative. Please, please, please consider getting on Telegram and subscribing to Amir Sarfati's um, broadcast or his Telegram, his channel, because you will get the real truth there. He's right there on the ground, and he puts it out as things are happening. So be informed, not disinformed or misinformed. Um, because there's a lot of fake news out there. Okay. Well, I do hope that you were blessed. I hope this program blessed you. I certainly was blessed to be with you tonight, and I hope you will consider coming back on next Monday night at 6:30, and also this coming Wednesday evening at 6:30. We have our midweek midrash, and we will be continuing with a study that's called The Pillars, and it's a study of the matriarchs. We will be looking at the character of Devorah or Deborah and studying her and how she is an example of one of the pillars of our faith. And then, of course, um, if you are in the area, please come and join us and worship on our Shabbat on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock. The time, all the times are Central Time, by the way. But if you're in the area, please come and join us for worship and afterward fellowship. We have a fellowship meal afterward. So we really do feed you, and then we feed you. So if you're able to do that in person, we would love to see you there. If you're not able to, join us online and we will be right here on this channel. And if this program and others like it blessed you, please like and subscribe so that you will get all the latest, all the latest and greatest um, news and programming that we strive to put out there. And so, anyway, thank you so much for um, your attention to this matter. So I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, I wish you shalom, shalom.